are being misinterpreted,
Mm-hmm.
mostly by atheist people, to show that some of them are just born not to be saved, or
Yeah.
those who are supposed to be saved will be saved. But
Mm-hmm.
we truly, what Paul is showing is the sovereignty of God. God is almighty. He does what he wants to do when he wants to do them. So he is just showing to them that if God wanted to bring the Gentiles onto salvation or to reconciliation with him, he can do that. Who are they? Who are the Jewish people? Who are you to be saying that they cannot be part of the family? How can you decide that? Because God is sovereign. He chose them to be a part of that family. Then
Mm-hmm.
this is what he's gonna do. You cannot stop that. And that is why I believe he used the example of Pharaoh as well, where most people are saying that God is not just because he forced Pharaoh to do these things and then he killed Pharaoh and all of that. No, Pharaoh already had the desire in his heart. He didn't want to let the people of God go away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, God used that now in order to show his power, his glory through Pharaoh with all the plagues and everything that he has done to him. But the desire was already there. God just used it to show his power. But it doesn't mean that God, since Pharaoh was in the belly, God already prepared him for that purpose, or God already hardened his heart. No, this is not what it means. So,
Mm-hmm.
Paul, because the Jews didn't really want to be having fellowship with the Gentiles, was showing to them that you are the one who do not really deserve to be part of it, because really and truly you rejected the Lord. But when they bring the gospel to the Gentiles, they receive it gladly. God prepared them or choose them to be a part of this. So you now cannot put them away as if they are not part of the family. So overall, this is what I got from the research that I've done and from the study. Perhaps there are more things that I could be said, but as we go through the discussion, if I have any comment, I will let it be known.
Well, very good, very good.
Yes,
You
sir.
you have hit the nail on the head. And you know, you are one of the few students who have actually mastered this passage since I've been teaching Romans. Not
Okay.
because it's one of the difficult, very difficult passages of the Bible to really understand. And again, there are certain principles that has to be applied in terms of understanding what this particular text is getting at. And the best way to do it is that you have to harmonize what Paul is discussing from chapter 1, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Paul paints a picture in chapter 1, and he speaks of the fact that the the whole world is under God's condemnation, whether Jew or Gentile.
Yes.
He speaks of the fact that God had revealed himself to the Gentiles, and they were without excuse. And he
Yes.
had also done the same for the Jews, and they are without excuse. When it comes to what he does in terms of the scheme of salvation, none of them can take credit for it, because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So
Yes, sir.
there is nobody that is in a more privileged position than the other, because all are sinners saved by grace.
Yes, sir.
And so when it comes to chapter 9, and there's the argument that the Gentiles are somehow not worthy of salvation, then Paul has an issue, because who are the Jews to determine whether or not the Gentiles deserve salvation? Because he wants to point out to them that you really deserve. You are not you are not deserving of salvation more than anybody, because
Yes.
you and he's going to make the case in chapter 10 and 11 that you rejected the Christ,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Christ came through your lineage. You who should have been among the privileged, you rejected Christ. So the fact that you rejected Christ, who are you now to say whether or not the Gentiles deserve salvation? Right?
Yes.
So the Jews on one hand were boasting of the fact that they were the original plant, and somehow they had more privilege than the Gentiles. The Gentiles, on the other hand, were saying that, oh, we are not a part of the original plant, we are part of the engrafted, and so we have more privilege because you have rejected Christ. Paul is making the case that none of you are in any better position, right?
Sir.
And then he moves into the conversation of looking at the sovereignty of God, and it is one of the difficult things about God's character to understand. And again, it's that we look at it from a purely human perspective. God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. In other words, we can't bend our will to God's will. Well, we can't bend God's will to ours, rather.
Yes.
And so we are in no position whatsoever to declare to God who he should have mercy on. God is sovereign. And being sovereign, he can do whatever he wills. He can bend the forces of nature to his will. He can bend even man's will to his own. He can choose to have mercy on whomever he wants to have mercy. And we are not in a position to question him based on his mercy. Right?
Yes.
It's just like when I think in the book of Jeremiah, when Jeremiah speaks of the potter and the clay. Jeremiah says, boy, when it comes to the potter fashioning the clay cannot tell the potter how to fashion him. It is the potter who has control over the clay, and the potter can shape the clay either into a vessel of honor or a vessel of dishonor, right?
Yes.
He can shape the clay, and when he makes the vessel, he looks at the vessel and decides that he doesn't like the vessel. He can destroy it and remake it, right? Because he has full control over the clay. The clay really has no control over the outcome, right? Whatever object or instrument it or utensil or whatever it will be, it is the potter who determines that. And so Paul makes the same case in relation to salvation, right? The Jews cannot tell God how to save, and he can't tell God who to save. The Gentiles cannot tell God how to save and who to save, because and there are certain key verses in Romans that are very important, and one of them is the one in Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. There's nobody that is in a privileged position, right? We don't have that kind of privilege. We are all subjected to the mercy, the grace, and the forgiveness of God. We can't. In other words, we will never be in the position to take credit for our salvation, right? Don't happen.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing, and you know, there's nothing that you and I can do that could ever appease God to the point that he says he's going to give us a free pass, right? Because we will never be able to do anything that is going to be deserving of God giving us that kind of privilege, right? And it's a very important point. And as I said before, is one of those verses that tends to be a little bit difficult, you know, to grasp. Many persons have not fully grasped the lesson that it is, and I guess that is one of the reasons why there are so many misconceptions to what the text is teaching, right?
Yes.
Many misunderstandings where this particular text is, you know, is when you look at it, but the basis of it is really the fact that man does not have the privilege of telling God what to do, right? And man will basically never have the privilege of telling God what to do. It is God who's always going to be in control of everything. All right.
Yes, sir.
As I said before, I'm not going. We're not going past chapter 9 because hold on.
Okay.
I'm not going to pass chapter 9 because I don't want to give you too much to study in terms of your final exam. I'm going to check with Joel whether or not this is a two-term course or one. I'm almost sure it's a one. But chapter 9 is a very good place to stop at this point until we get to do the rest of it.
Yes, sir.
But very, very good work. Very good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Right.
very much.
You have been able to do what many persons have not done. In one go. In one go, actually. Right.
Yes.
I have taught Romans for a number of years, and every time we reach chapter 9, this is where a lot of people get stuck.
Okay.
Right, and you have been able to basically handle it and figure out without getting into the complications of where it is. But and you can look at it some more. You might.
Yes, I can.
There are many more lessons
Because it's interesting, and when I find these things which are so difficult to explain, or where there is a lot of controversy, I love, sharing them with people, start looking at it and having some discussion to share light on them. As a matter of fact, this is what I really love doing. Preaching is good, but I really love spending time having discussions with people on Bible subjects, which are difficult to understand. I enjoy that a lot.
All right, wonderful.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll just cut it there. So, for your exam, study chapter 8 and 9 for your exam.
All right, so
we'll give you an exam from chapter 8 and chapter 9.
Yes, sir, definitely. I will do that.
So I'll see you at 11:30 for counseling class.
Let me see, 9:30 to 10:30, 10:30, 11:30 Romans. Yes, 11:30 to 12.
Okay, so I'll see you at 11 for counseling. All right.
Yes, sir. Good.
Okay.